Moving on now, the Nebraska Pork Producers Association says that 2022 was the first year of normal production that they saw since the pandemic disruptions. My colleague Alex Makovicka had a chance to catch up with Al Junke. He serves as the executive director of that group. Al reviewed some of the success they saw in 2022 and previews what could be ahead here in 2023.
Yeah, well, again, here in Nebraska, like around the country, I think livestock people have been happy to get into maybe a full year of non-COVID production, right? So COVID, while it's still around, it's in our rearview mirror as far as, packing plant slowdowns and staff illness on the farms and all the things we went through with having to maybe even downsize or euthanize our herds back then. This has been a good year. So, as we look at 2022 in review, again, our prices were fairly good. So that was a positive, much higher than what we saw in the COVID year. Of course, offsetting that, with every good, there's always some input costs we need to talk about. And so, yeah, our feed costs were up, our fuel costs were up, but, for our farmers that were feeding their own grains and locking in some good prices, I think there were some profits out there. And so overall in our barns and on our farms, I think people are back to normal and, enjoying a fairly good year, at least from the pork side.
Yeah, you touched a little on the pork industry, but I know you mentioned some disease challenges. What were some of those things that producers were facing this last year?
Yeah, we're a little we're still trying to figure out. We've got a lot of PRRS, PRRS. That's that respiratory disease in pigs if people aren't familiar with the swine industry. But PRRS, it affects our litter size. It affects our sow health. It's in our barns, and usually it's a seasonal disease, but we're seeing it more year round. It's different strains of the disease. So we're busy trying to figure out how do we prevent it, but B, how do we get rid of it once it's in our barns? So for farmers that had that, it's been kind of a challenge, and consequently, we've seen our sow herds kind of reduced a little bit because there is those disease in the barns, and our pig numbers are a little lower than maybe we've seen historically. And a lot of that, again, is predicated, I'd say a lot of it, on the PRRS and other disease pressures we're seeing. But if you have pigs to sell and you've kept control of that disease and you get into the market, again, I think farmers have done pretty well.
So Al, that's the commodity, the producer, the that side of things. When you look at education and outreach, what are some of those highlights from the last year?
Well, at least for our office here in our group in Nebraska, we're fully staffed for the first time since COVID too. So we have a brand new education director we brought on board, and Sophia Lentfer is her name, and she's been working closely with our show pig folks, our elementary and high schools, and into our college, and bringing that education to them. And we're also starting again producer education meetings. We have a new director of Allied and Producer Services, and his name is Steve Hofer. And Steve came on board this year, and now he's out here in the last quarter, plus going into next year, we'll be holding regional producer meetings. So we bring a number of topics out there for our producers. We educate them, which, as you know, with checkoff dollars, there's three things you can do: promotion, education, and research. And so we focus heavily on all three of those with our staff and with our outreach.
All right, Al, you look into 2023, you mentioned the new staff, but what are some other things you guys are looking forward to?
Well, I think one of the positives we're seeing as we look back the last year or two through this year, we're actually seeing an interest in people building barns again. We haven't seen that for a while. Nebraska is in a great big expansion mode and has been for a number of years. We have a lot of room for barns, good place if you're concerned about biosecurity for building sow farms and finishing barns. And so we've seen a lot of that, but it's slowed, again, for various reasons, mainly supply chain issues. Product costs were way higher than people wanted to spend, and the bankers and the farmers are kind of sat still the last couple of years. But now, both in our office and around the state, we're hearing of people looking for sites for barns. pricing some facilities, looking for farmer cooperators and integrators are out there again, looking for folks that want to participate. And of course, people are understanding that commodity underneath the barns, that manure, is very valuable in a time of high inputs on our corn and soybean crops. Boy, having that manure to put out on your field, plus making some money on those pigs in the barn, really adds to that bottom line. So again, we're seeing some resurgence of that. So we're hopeful and positive that 2023 might see some more expansion again in our pig numbers.